In 1 Corinthians, Paul said, I hear there's divisions among you, and I would that you would all speak the same thing. For now there are some that say, every one of you, I am of Paul, I am of Apollos, I am of Cephas, which is the Greek word for Peter, and some were saying, I am of Christ. And some would say, I won't listen to Paul because I'm of Peter. And some said, I won't listen to Apollos because I'm of Paul. And some wouldn't listen to none of the apostles, and they said, I'm of Christ. I'm of Christ, and I get my information straight from him, and I don't get my information from nobody else. I've got my own revelation. Most chances are it was probably another Jesus and another Christ, but they were saying this. And Paul, they were accusing Paul in 1 Corinthians here, chapter 1, of baptizing in his own name. Everybody had his own leader, his own pope. And Paul directs them right back to the preaching of the cross. In verse 18, verse 17 and 18. For Christ sent me not to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with the wisdom of words, lest the cross of Christ should be made of none effect. He said, Christ didn't send me to baptize. And he was, in verse 14, he said, I thank God that I baptized none of you, but Crispus and Gaius, lest any should say that I had baptized in my own name. Paul said, everything I do here is to point you to Jesus Christ and what he did at the cross. Folks, that's the apostles' doctrine. It's more than just what name you're baptized in, or who's your leader, or the Godhead. Those may be parts of it, but the main part of it, the piece that's the central piece of the gospel of the apostles' doctrine, is Christ and him crucified. Here in 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 23, Paul said, but we preach Christ crucified. Who's that we? That we's the apostles. Under the Jews a stumbling block, and under the Greeks foolishness. A.W. Tozer said, if you preach Christ any way but crucified, you preach another Jesus, you preach another gospel, and you preach a new cross. Not the cross in which Christ died. Paul said we have one mediator between God and man, the man Christ Jesus. If you're looking to Apollos, if you're looking to any man on this earth, if you're looking for any prophet, any apostle, to be your mediator between God and man, to take you by the hand and be your high priest, and to lead you into the will of God for your life, and to lead you by the hand every day, you were in spiritual adultery, you're in fornication, spiritual fornication, and you're a Catholic, and you have your own pope, because you have substituted the high priest of Jesus Christ with your own high priest. And that's what they were doing in 1 Corinthians. Paul, later on, we're going to say they were in spiritual adultery. He wasn't impressed with their gifts. He said they were nothing but tinkling brass and tinkling silver. Sound and loud music was all it was. It wasn't anything profitable. Though they could prophesy, though they could move all mountains, though they could prophesy and have all knowledge, Paul said, it meant nothing. Because they weren't built on Christ and him crucified. And on the truth and the central theme of the gospel. The cross of Jesus Christ. If you're looking to any other man to be your high priest, and you're letting any other man lead you in what you believe about this word, other than hearing somebody preach the gospel and prayerfully receiving it and studying out to see if it be so, if you're